Hello, and welcome to Queer Abbey, a weekly chat show that is performed, recorded, and produced by yours truly. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the 30th episode of Queer Abbey. I appreciate you tuning in, and let's get started. So, I have been reading the Wicked book after watching the movie, and since all the hype around the Wicked story. It's like basically a fan fiction of the original Wizard of Oz, which was like a book series written by Frank L. Baum. And yeah, the Wizard of Oz is sort of like, it's kind of about like communism, low-key. That's an overstatement, but like it's all about the idea that like power is corrupting and that like groups of people can oppress each other like with like capital and by drawing boundaries between like land and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. There's a lot to it. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of social commentary involved in The Wizard of Oz. Then you've got Wicked, which is focused in on the witches in the story, the Wicked Witch of the West and her origin story. And Wicked is also a series in itself. The first book was sort of a hit that inspired the musical. And then there's 3 more books in the Wicked Years series. So all this to say, I'm reading the first one. And bitch, it's wild. I heard that it was weird. I think I mentioned it before on this podcast. But like the reasoning behind Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, being green is that her mom was like a whore and drank like green liquor and like got gangbanged by all the neighbors, and she doesn't even know who Elphaba's dad is. And so her being they are convinced that her being green is a punishment from the universe for like being a whore. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Although the way that the character's written, she's sort of like unabashed about it. It's not like she's like, oh no, like God is punishing me because I'm a hoe. She's like, oh well, and what? I had a green kid because yeah, I got fucked by a couple elves, like whatever. And I just think that's pretty cunty. It's interesting to grow up with The Wizard of Oz, and I have such a solitary understanding of it, like as the movie The Wizard of Oz, and like it's its own canon for me. But there's a much more like adult adaptation of it in Wicked, where there's this munchkin dude that's like this asshole priest that's Elphaba's dad, and yeah, anyway, it's very interesting. I'm reading it at the same time as my friend, and we're gonna have like a little chat about it, which is super cute. I made some pie crust, or prepared it, and it's in the fridge, and I'm excited to make some pie this week. I'm thinking I'm gonna make apple pie and maybe also a pumpkin pie as well. I am really good at making pie crust. It's one of my like prides and joys in life. You use half shortening and half butter. And this is so fierce. You can use like a grater and grate the butter. Make sure it's really cold, and then like grate it into like little slivers or chunks. And that way you don't have to do so much work when you like cut the fat into the flour. If you've made pie crust, you know what I'm talking about. The first step is to take the fat that you're using, shortening or butter or both, and then you like kind of like agitate it into the flour until it forms this mealy, like globby little texture, because you don't want to form too much gluten by working the flour and the fat together, because as you like agitate the flour, like the gluten forms, and so you do it as little as possible and you keep it as cold as possible to minimize the gluten forming, and that creates this gorgeous flaky crust. And the butter tastes good, so you got to use some butter as well as the shortening, and it creates the perfect texture. And yeah, it's like the only thing I know how to make that I'm like, this is perfect, this needs no adjustment. I got the recipe from Sally's Baking Addiction years and years ago, and I've made it probably 15 times. Yeah, we love Sally's Baking Addiction. It's this, I don't know, her name's Sally, and she writes recipes, and I fuck with her. Almost everything I've made from that website has turned out really nicely for me. Sugar cookies, that's another one, and also chocolate chip cookies. Those are the other recipes that I've taken from her that are staples for me. She has this recipe where you use melted butter to make chocolate chip cookies, and it's very tasty. It's really important to refrigerate things like pie crust and cookies that like need to acquire a specific texture, because the refrigeration process allows all of the moisture in the like butter and stuff to absorb like into the other parts of the dough, the flour. It like hydrates it with its moisture. Isn't that interesting? Baking is such a specific and detailed science, you know? Making pie crust is just, all of these factors go into it, like the temperature of everything, and then how hot it's going to bake, and how it forms steam and creates these pockets of crust that makes it flaky. It's just this whole alchemical sort of process. It's wonderful. It really is like magic. I'm the Wicked Witch of the Pacific Northwest, making pie crust in my kitchen and doing little audio engineering projects. Rah. I have to say, I'm tired right now. I put off doing this episode until the end of the week because, hey, let me be grateful as well. I've had some time off this week. I've been done with class. I finished all my finals, got straight A's, like I said. I think I mentioned that last week. And I've had a couple real days off to just bed rot. I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a super fun game if you're familiar. I played Cassandra. She's like this big hulking like dyke Greek woman. And she's so fierce. You know, it gives me gender euphoria to play as Cassandra, because she's like this giant, strong woman. Okay, yeah, so I've had lots of time off, and I literally lost my train of thought. Not me having to listen back to myself to remember what I was talking about. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I was tired because I put it off because I've had time off, yeah. And so I've just been kind of hanging out, chilling, and that's great. I deserve that. I've been working hard for a couple months, and yep. So it's after work. I worked a closing shift, and then I had to walk home because the bus was taking a long time. So I traipsed my little gay ass home, and it's not that far. It's probably like, I don't know, a mile and change. But yeah, my body's tired. My mind is a little tired, but I'm happy to be here doing this podcast. What am I trying to say, bitch? Oh my God. I'm happy to be sitting down here doing this podcast. There we go. I have some mac and cheese that I'm making right now, and that's really exciting as well. Well, yeah. Okay, so that's mostly all of the updates that I have for you. I have some time off. It's been lit. I'm making mac and cheese. I'm reading Wicked, and I'm playing Assassin's Creed. I have so many things to be grateful for. What a wonderful life it is. Oh, and my boobs. My boobs are getting kind of like there, you know? I've been doing the injections of estradiol, and the titties are tittying. Although one unfortunate side effect of that is I notice people at work like looking down at my chest, and that freaks me out. I don't really enjoy that because it makes me feel like, this is cliche I hear all the time, but it makes me feel like some sort of piece of meat or something. People are like appraising me. But anyway, it feels kind of nice. I've got little tiny jiggly little boobies. Sorry if that's inappropriate. Anyway, it makes me happy. So let's move on to a little bit of advice for this week. Alrighty, y'all. Let's get into some advice for this week from Queer Abbey. The first prompt for this week comes from an anonymous caller who asked, "My essay was detected as 100% AI, but I wrote it myself. What do I do?" Oh, well, that sucks. Honestly, this is such a pertinent issue this day and age of like, how are we going to discern when people are and are not using AI now that it's at the point that it can write at a convincing level, like it's like a college level student writing an essay? Like, as a teacher, I bet that's really frustrating as well to get work from people and not know if they even did it themselves. So what you're telling me, anonymous caller, is that you have written this essay yourself and that it detected it as 100% AI. That's just like insane to me. And I don't even have advice for you because, like, what do? You can't even prove to them that you didn't use AI. I guess I don't know enough about computers. Like, it's not like they're able to like record your keystrokes and like see that back, you know? Like, how would somebody even prove that at some point? Like, once you've downloaded your essay as a PDF file and like sent it off, is it just detecting it based on the language, like, or the word choices? Like, how do they even know that? My brain is very confused about this, the inner workings of this issue. But at the end of the day, I'm really sorry to hear that you are being accused of doing something that you didn't do. And what I would do is definitely reach out to the appropriate authorities in the situation, because your teacher is probably just trying to do their best job, right? Or maybe they're not, I don't know. But they're convinced that they're doing something by marking you down. They probably gave you a 0 for your assignment if they thought that you didn't do it yourself. And so you should either talk to them about it if they seem reasonable, if you have a good relationship, or if not, then you probably need to go above their head and ask for some help from some sort of administration in your school, because this is a frustrating situation. Your grades are not something you should play with when you're paying money to go to school. Yeah. If you wrote the paper yourself, I bet that there's some way that you could prove it. Maybe you could have a conversation with one of the administrative employees, or your teacher rather, about like the content of the essay and like just illuminate it in further detail and talk about it so that they can be convinced that you actually wrote it. Because like, if you know what you're talking about, then clearly you could have written the essay. So maybe that's a good way to go about clearing your name. Never feels good to be accused of something you didn't do. So sorry to hear that. Let us move on to the second prompt for this week. This caller asked, I found my coworker's wife on Tinder. Long story short, I'm good friends with this person that I work with, and his wife came up on my Tinder. What should I do? I feel compelled to tell him, but I'm uneasy about it. Well, yeah, you should just tell him. Because assuming that it's... Well, actually, here's one caveat. You shouldn't necessarily assume that she's not allowed to be on there, but probably not, given the phrasing of the submission. It sounds like it's clearly just like she's going outside of the bounds of this relationship. And yeah, that's not cool. You should probably tell her husband, your friend. It can be so awkward, the world that we live in and all of the interface that we do on the internet, and how it's kind of dissonant from real life. Like, it just doesn't feel real, but like we see people we know from real life on Tinder or on Grindr or any of the other apps for hooking up and dating, and it's so confronting because it suddenly mashes together this world of fantasy and this world of reality that you splay between your time, or you splay your time between. I don't know, words are hard for me right now, but you understand what I'm trying to say. You try to keep those kinds of things separate, and you compartmentalize your sexuality into this little fantasy box, and you keep it on Tinder, and it's convenient to just click on it and open it when you feel like it. But then when you see people you know in real life, it's like, oh my God, I'm accountable to this stuff, which you always are, actually. But it's so funny how the world we live in, with all of the convenience of the apps and stuff, it just seems like it's not even a real thing. Just wild. So, yeah, this person, they're going outside of their marriage. That's not cool. You should tattle on them, to be honest. Whatever. All right, next question. the last prompt for this evening states, gross. My husband won't wash his hands after using the bathroom at home. I've put up with a lot of my husband's little quirks, but it all came to a head yesterday when my husband dipped his finger into my freshly cooked mashed potatoes after using the restroom. Gross. Well, how do you even go about fixing that one? Get a new husband, throw the whole thing out, I guess, and get a new one? Because that's gross. That's just a lack of common sense. God, no. And not like cooking something and then somebody like immediately contaminating it. That would send me into a spiral. Because I just get anxiety about contaminating my own food or leaving things in the fridge and then it like tastes funny because it takes on the taste of everything else in the fridge. You know what I mean? Like, I'm too sensitive about that, unfortunately. Like, I need to just be like less of a bitch about it. Somebody like walking up directly from the bathroom and sticking their fingers in my food would send me to overdrive. I would grab them by the hair and drag them into the street, and I don't know what I would do after that, but I would do something. And yeah, so I think that you should make a PowerPoint containing a lot of pictures, because clearly your husband's not a smart guy, and explain how bacteria lives and breeds on your hands and bodily surfaces, and especially when you go to the bathroom and touch like the toilet flusher handle thing and the doorknob or your cell phone or really anything. We need to be washing our hands like a lot more than we do anyway, but you know, especially after you use the bathroom, because that's even just more of like a spiritual and mental thing as well. Like, you need to create this barrier of soap and water between you and the caca, because you've been near the caca and you've been handling and touching near the caca, and that's not okay. You know, no one wants that. So you need to wash your hands, rinse, lather, say your ABCs twice, or you could do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's the same song, you know. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Did you know that? I bet I just blew one person's mind out there. Okay. So yeah, anyway, make a PowerPoint or divorce your husband. I think those are the two reasonable courses of actions you have. Courses of action. Okay, I'm sputtering out of control, so I am really excited to get to our musical spotlight. Let's call that there with the 3 advice prompts. If you are interested in having your music featured on Queer Abbey or submitting an advice prompt so I can answer it on here, dispense my questionable advice to you, you can follow the link that's in the description of this episode, that anonymous inbox. You can send me a spooky little quandary or question, a concern even, or you can send us a text at 503-567-2053 or an email to queerabbey@gmail.com. That's QUEERABBEY@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Here. Welcome back. Let us get into a musical spotlight for this week. I am very excited to share with you the music of Emi Pop. They are a group that's based out of Seattle, Washington, that's fronted by Emi Pop, the Puerto Rican singer. They make music that is in Spanish. It's this pop punk rock kind of style, and it's just like really fun. I was really attracted to their sound. They have an EP of 4 songs that's available. I got a link to YouTube music from Emi, and so you're welcome to listen there. I'll provide the link in the episode description as always. And so the song that I chose out of the 4 songs on their EP is called Te Busque, which I'm learning Spanish very casually, and I understand that it means I searched for you, or I'm looking for you. It has that kind of context of like buscar is like to look, to search, buscando is looking, te busque is like directed towards, like, it means like towards you, like I'm searching for you, or I looked for you everywhere. You could say I looked everywhere for you by saying te busque todas las partes. I looked in all the places for you. I think. Anyway, I'm really not that great at Spanish, so I could be sounding like kind of a moron right now, but it's important to take a risk, you know? I'm learning. And so that's been a really fun component of like trying to kind of understand what the lyrics are. And I understand that te busque, I'm searching for you. It gets repeated a lot in the song. It's got this sort of longing, sweet energy to it. This very energetic and dancey guitar. And I think you guys are going to love it. Honestly, yeah. All 4 of the songs that I heard from Emi Pop are really repeatable, danceable. I want to put them in my playlists, and I want to hear more from them. So, yeah. Let's, without further ado, listen to Te Busque from Emi Pop. All right, y'all. That was just a snippet from the song Te Busque by Emi Pop. I will provide a link, as always, to their YouTube music page where you can listen to their entire EP. And Emi Pop performs all over the Pacific Northwest. I know that they were recently in Portland and that they're based out of Seattle, Washington. So go ahead and Google them and look up where you can go see them live, because I bet that would be such a fun show. I unfortunately missed them while they were here, but I was able to coordinate with Emi and listen to this lovely music. So next time that they're here, I will make sure to go and see them live and get the real tea. Live music is so fucking fun. I love having so many friends that are musicians and getting to go see them perform. And goddamn it, I need to get my gay ass out there and fucking just stop being a wimp and perform in some live venues. So maybe one day I'll be telling you where you can go see me perform. But for now, go check out Emi Pop. And that's pretty much all I have for you this week. I appreciate you listening in, and it means a lot to me that you care at all about my little Queer Abbey podcast. So, yay. I'm gonna go eat this mac and cheese that I just made and have a lovely little rest before work tomorrow. So, all right, y'all. This is me signing off. Have a good rest of your week and don't do drugs, okay? Mwah.